Hello everybody and welcome to this channel, the first video on this channel and one which I hope will be many more in the future. What I've decided to name this channel is Simstasis, but my name is Connor and I live in Britain and I am 22 years old and I currently live in Wales and I am studying history at master's level. So I thought I'd provide a little bit of background to who I am for this channel, but I kind of hope that most of this channel will work mostly on building because that is what I really enjoy in The Sims 4. I've been playing The Sims since Sims 3, I think back in 2014 maybe. Could have been a bit earlier, can't remember exactly, but I have for a couple of years now been getting into building a lot more, and in this video here is something which I have called Artsy Modern. Kind of the idea I had behind this was a kind of like it's on one of the small lots in Newcrest, which onto the left you can see one of my other builds, but kind of a modern contemporary build, which kind of looks like how the brick at the bottom is the earliest, is like what was originally built, and then they kind of did extensions on the top, which is all the stark white. And I kind of got inspiration from this from like Deligracy. She did a recent video in her Let's Play of where the extensions were all done in stark white, apart from that little bit red on the front, but it just looked cool. I did get this building idea off the internet because I mean I'm only so creative, but with most of my building I start out with one idea and then by the end of it I have completely changed. So it started with the modern idea and then the arty bit came later as I kind of decided on who I thought could have lived in this house. So at this moment I'm kind of still building the skeleton of the house, kind of wanted to have quite a lot of light let into the house through all the big windows, which are at the front and at the sides. I think it looks like I'm going to be moving on to the interior of the build. So I kind of had left it quite an open plan building. Excuse me, not open plan, kind of style in the lower half of the house. Here, it looks like here I'm starting on the kitchen. So I kind of had the idea at first to kind of corner it off and have a half wall dividing it, but later on I do decide to remove the half wall and I put kind of like a little cubby hole through from this the kitchen into the dining room on the other side. Like I know it's like quite an open planned house, but I thought this looked quite nice and made it a little bit more open and less closed off. So what I've I don't know really what I'm going to be talking about for the next half an hour. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about me. Obviously I introduced myself as Connor, but I study history at the moment at master's level. I did do my undergraduate in Wales as well. And so I'm 22 years old and probably going to be rambling on about the same stuff because this is the first video, but try my best. So here I'll come back to me, but now we're moving on to the kitchen. So I kind of, as you can see, the little cubby hole coming to life, if you want to say like that, on the right. And then I kind of felt like, because it's quite a modern build, to have like a mirror splashback because I think that looks really cool. I quite like doing that. And then moving on to kind of like the cabinets above, and I'm going to run out what I'm talking about in the next half an hour. But yeah, so excuse the colloquialism of my language at the moment. I have really no idea what I'm doing here. I'm hoping to do this in a way which allows me to edit my voice as little as possible because I hate the sound of it. But here we go. I enjoy Sims building, not editing my voice. So I guess I'll go on a bit more about me. I have my hobbies are kind of like I enjoy playing The Sims. I'm not really the biggest of gamers. I kind of enjoyed The Sims purely on like the fact that you can control life and build people and build houses and all that stuff. But I guess outside of gaming, I used to swim competitively. I think in Britain, what we would class it as like county level. I guess I got up to that. I used to do taekwondo, but mostly I'm a swimmer. But since I've started at university, most of this kind of the stuff which takes over my life is my studies, because that's kind of like the important bits. And I kind of hope to fit in the Sims building in between my studies, as because I have had quite a few busy months, but now things seem to have calmed down a bit, so I hope to maybe be getting out hopefully a build a week, but depends on what my schedule is and how things start off on this channel and stuff, but who knows how it goes really. Here in the kitchen, I kind of like had a bit of a struggle on like how I wanted if I wanted tiling or if I just wanted like a white background. And later in the build I do introduce, I think it came in a free update, I think it was like a Jamaican themed update. I introduced those banana leaf wallpapers into the house because it kind of matched with the aesthetic I was going for. But I do have tiles from Jungle Adventure at the moment because I really like that pack for building. It's got really great items. But then I do in the end change it back to just a normal white background because I think the tiles were a little bit too much. But kind of like, as I said, like the aesthetic I was hoping for was like the artsy kind of somebody who likes to bring the outdoors indoors. That's kind of why I wanted to use the banana leaf pattern, because I thought it had nice green, dark green colours, but also matched the white I was going for with the counters and the white background in other places. I do kind of introduce some like exposed brick because I think that looks really nice on the overall aesthetic of the house, and the fact that it just adds another level to it. I'm thinking of big words here, but I can't think of any. And yeah, so I think that's the kitchen mostly done. And I'm kind of, my building style is a little bit all over the place at times. So I'll start a bit here and then I'll start a little bit there. But here I've added in like a porch out the back. And then what I choose to do is add an extension at the bottom, and I put in the bathroom downstairs. Because as you will see in a minute, I will make the upstairs a mezzanine level. And that's kind of what really gave the idea of like the artsy style of it, because I think that it added I added some like hanging plants and all that stuff because it looked cool. Sorry, I have no clue what I'm talking about here, so please excuse me. Oh yeah, so here I do actually decide to change the flooring. I love the wooden paneling which come with Jungle Adventure. And I also decided to kind of corner in the kitchen a little bit more and make it have an archway instead of it being completely open. That way it felt like it was actually a separate kitchen without everything being completely open plan. But soon I will add in the bathroom and whatnot. But oh yeah, and I did at one point decide to have like a bit of a copper aesthetic to the kitchen because I thought it looked good. And then I was trying to like match in some like orange decor to go with the copper look to it. But in the end, I do change that back to, I think, just a black stove, if I'm correct, and a black fridge. But I could be wrong. It could go back to white. I can't remember exactly what I did in this build. It was a while ago. It was a couple of days ago since I did this. But yeah, so I think here... Oh yeah, first I decided I was going to have the living room over on this side, and then I decided to extend it over on the other side, and then I put the living room on the other side. Oh yeah, first now I'm going to add in I think it's a fireplace, because I'd really struggled on where to find a good place to put the stairs. And in the build I was looking at, it only gave me an exterior look to it, but it did show that the stairs was right by the entrance, and that's what I chose to do, and I didn't add a banister on it. So whoopsie, but I kind of thought it looked nicer without the banister. It kind of made it look a little bit more rustic and a little bit more modern without... Rustic and modern, wow. It made it look a little bit... Because I chose the wooden stairs, I think it just looked better without the... The... What's the word? Without the banisters on it. Sorry, I'm not very good at all this sort of stuff, so you'll have to excuse me. I'm sure it will get better as the videos get on, but for a first time talking to myself, I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Oh yeah, I kind of struggled at first where to put the bathroom, but then as you can see, I put in the stairs there, and then I do later add in the bathroom on the right of it, and remove the bathroom from upstairs because I thought the mezzanine level looked really nice on the front for the top floor. So it kind of only ends up being one bedroom, but at the same time, it was not my plan to begin with. But as with most of my builds, they do kind of evolve as they go on, and I do think of it in one way, and then I'm like, oh, I actually prefer it this way. So they usually do evolve over time, and it's not particularly like something which I start out for something and then it changes. So I do end up changing the roofing, I think, a little bit on that. It was annoying me on the fact that I had it over on the side, so I do end up, I think, just having it like that because it made more sense in my mind to have like one just set back a little bit, because I didn't like that it overhung over on one section. But I think the exterior is mostly done. I obviously do the landscaping at the end and add in stuff on the outside, but I think I had a little bit of trouble at the beginning trying to work out the mezzanine level, because every time I did one bit, then it removed the outer walls. I did end up cutting all of that footage out, but it took a while to get through because it was just aggravating. But I think the kitchen's I went to a brown oven. Okay, well, nice enough. So I think I do end up moving the I moved it there, but I do end up moving the fireplace underneath the television, and I put a bookcase instead of a mirror there because I realised that I didn't have many core items in this build. Like, I gave it an easel and that, I think that was about it, but I had to give it a bookcase because I do give it a computer and stuff, but I didn't give them a bookcase, and I was like, they need some sort of skill learning for The Sims. So here we are. I'm doing moving on to the bathroom now. I could be, but I'm going upstairs. Yeah, here we go. This was the bit I had troubles on, like it kept on removing the walls. So I think I cut out a lot of the footage, but there we go. I think that was mostly it done. And then I thought I'd have some like hanging lights, and because I thought it would look quite nice, and I had trouble trying to find a couple which ones looked, sizing up a few of them to make them look like they weren't too small, but some of them were really, really big, like those nice masonry jar ones were massive. So I think I went with these ones. I can't remember they're from City Living, and they kind of had the same look. They didn't really give that much light because of the way the game renders on certain aspects when you level up, increase the height of some lights. So I did end up just sticking in some normal lights. And I think now I'm moving on to the mezzanine level of the bedroom. Kind of really went for it's not boho, I wouldn't really class it as, but it's still kind of like that. Had industrial features of it, but then feels just like quite slapdash, that they've kind of just put like stuck bits in here and there. They haven't got really the most modern of beds. Oh no, I've gone onto the outside now, but I will come back to the living room soon, I'm sure. I guess I felt like doing some outdoorsy bits now. had a bit of issue. I guess I just changed the roof colouring. I can't remember what colour I do change it to. Oh, I did go with the black one. I liked it with the starkness against the white. And I guess in here I've started on some landscaping. Like I said, my building, I usually build without sometimes thinking that I was going to record it. So I will build a bit here, build a bit there, and then come back to another bit here. So sometimes it's with some very low editing skills, it's quite hard to like switch around sort of footage, because this is the first video I've ever edited. I did it on my iPad in iMovie, yeah, and luckily it's quite easy on there because I have not really much idea what I'm doing. I did try, there we go, now I've brought in the exposed brick, because I did decide, I was like, oh, maybe I'll do it only on the lower floor, because then that would look nice. But then I decided to do it on the right there, because then they could have, it was possibly on the fact that they thought, oh, even though it's an extension, we're still going to leave the exposed brick upstairs. I think that was my logic behind it, but I thought it looked quite nice when I add in the hanging plants from Jungle Adventure. It really does add in that kind of modern-ish look, while kind of being a little bit, I can't really think of the word, but sort of not really caring less, but at the same time makes it look a little bit more bare. And I added in my all-time favourite mirror from Jungle Adventure. Like I said, I love a lot of build items from Jungle Adventure, that one there on the right. And then I kind of felt like I wanted to bring a lot of the outdoors indoors with a lot of greenery, and there we go. These are the hanging plants that I added in, and they are kind of annoying on the fact that when you do go down to the lower level, you can still see the plants above, but I just thought it looked really, really good. When you see the screenshots at the end, you can see kind of like the overlooking from the bed, and then over the mezzanine level they can look down, and then but they still have those hanging plants out the top, and it just looked really nice. But yeah, I added in a few more on the outside, because it's like maybe someone moved in and then they brought all their plants with them, so they decided to put them on the outside as well. Excuse me there. So yeah, like I said, I love all the stuff from Jungle Adventure. It came with some lovely oranges and greens, and kind of like some of my favourite colours to build with. There we go, centering the bed to the mat. And then I added in a few extra plants, and I think I'm going to bring in the lights from Seasons. I do add in an easel because, I always love putting an ottoman at the end of the bed, but I do add in an easel and some arty features, because I thought that was kind of brought in the kind of the greenery to the house, made it look a little bit more like the person lived there, had this artsy aesthetic to them, and kind of a little bit more modern, and chose to a bit of a painter, and had like light, maybe a bit of a hippie. I don't want to use the term hippie, but let's class them as a hippie. So at first I decided that I love these paintings. I think they're from Seasons, don't quote me, but I really like them. I think it adds a really nice feature, but I do end up changing that because I really wasn't sure on the colour scheme. It didn't really work with the colour scheme. So yeah, I added some columns there just to kind of section off the exposed brick, and then I think now I'm just going around and adding some curtains and other decor. I love doing that thing from, I think they came in Dine Out, where you just like make it look like the curtains partly drawn back. And I usually love using those curtains from the movie Hangout stuff, but I have a habit of, when I build, I go all out on almost every single pack there is available. I mean, I don't own all of them, but I go nuts. And I fear that if I add in too many packs, then obviously not many people, I know everybody can download them and it remove the items that they don't have. But I just think it's better to make more packs, more builds with less packs, especially now if I'm starting to make YouTube videos about it. I don't want to be building like so many houses and have like all the packs in them, which not many people can download. So I'd rather start trying to do maybe pack exclusive builds and maybe base game builds, even though I haven't done one of those in years, to kind of branch out and try and add some diversity instead of using all the different packs. I kind of struggled on what to add there. There's those jazz paintings from the base game, which I've realised I've never used, but which didn't work with the house, so I ended up just adding some more greenery there. But I do end up it was from Pets, those paintings were from. But I think that's mostly the mezzanine level done. I think I'm going to start working now on the bathroom. No, I'm going to do the dining room, and then I might do the outside, and then I might do the bathroom, but we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, so I thought maybe I might use some of the new table which came with the free update for the Lunar New Year, but I decided to end up going with the one from Jungle Adventure. And yeah, deciding that I'm like, oh, those are the perfect chairs, but I want to limit my pack use. And I thought I was only using one stuff pack, but I ended up using two by accident, and I can't remember what item I used in that one. So apologies there. I thought I was keeping it down to one stuff pack, but ended up not. There's like some of the packs which I can't not use, like the Pets, the Seasons, and Get Famous. I think they're some of the most common packs, so I feel like most people are going to have those. But yeah, here I am adding in this like banana leaf motif, wallpaper, because I just thought it really added a little bit extra dimension to the house. Instead of it all being stark white, there was a nice little bit like pops of green downstairs instead of all the greenery being upstairs. I do end up, obviously, as I said, moving that fireplace underneath the TV, but I think I'm changing the floorboards here because I didn't like the blue. I ended up leaving just that in the bathroom. Oh, so how long are we in? Still have a long way to go, and I'm still running out of things to talk about. I guess I could talk about my day. My day hasn't really been that interesting. I went to the gym. I'm trying to, as it's the new year, not new year, new me, but thought I'd start going to the gym. Bought a gym membership. Yeah, that went well. I went late, so as always, the gyms are very busy, and I don't like busy gyms. I don't like waiting around to go use the equipment. And I always feel like I'm being judged. I don't like it. You get all those like gym rats walking around. I don't want to use that term, but you get all these like gym people walking around who are like, oh yeah, I go to the gym all the time. And I'm like, this is like my third time. Please leave me alone. But that was fine. And then as always, I'm going to ache tomorrow like there's no tomorrow, so I can enjoy that. But I think I have a lecture tomorrow on one of my only lectures tomorrow, because the History Masters seems very, very non-existent with lectures. But yeah, so I think I've given enough information about me for my life today. But as I think I'm adding in a few mats here and there to add a little bit more comfort to the house. I guess sometimes the way I build is I will find items that I need, I'll stick them in the room, and then I'll come back to it later. And here I kind of struggled on how I wanted to have a runner, because I think it was Sim Supply he just did some carpet for a runner, and it looked good, but I didn't like that in the end, so I ended up going with that rug, but I can't remember where it's from, so I do apologise. And one thing I always do at the end of like when everything's kind of built is I start going in and I start adding clutter, because I think I love adding clutter into builds, where it's like boxes of tissues, pens, all sorts of stuff like that, because I really think it adds an extra dimension to the house and starts making it a little bit more lived in. Because if it's just, that's just my style of build really, is I like to make it look a little bit more lived in. And as always, I keep going through all these items like, oh, that's perfect. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to add too many packs in. So I think I do try to limit what I use in the packs at this for builds to come now. But I still felt it was like that one of those builds where everything's kind of like been built. Like you go up to this nice like complex of built houses, and then you basically have freedom to do whatever you choose with it. So that's why I start adding in some of the spotlights around the house. It just gives that kind of like new house feel to it, but at the same time has been completely changed by whoever lives there. And so I felt like kind of like a chic kind of a shabby chic kind of woman who lives there. Could be a man, could be somebody else. I'm not defining here, but kind of an artist who likes to play around with colours and really likes plants as well. So I think I'm just adding in like some of the final touches around here. This is quite a long video. I did struggle to edit down. I'm like, oh, this is important. Oh, that's nice. So it is like over half an hour long for a relatively small house. So I kind of, yeah. When it came to the kind of landscaping of this house, I wanted to keep it very much... Sometimes with my landscaping, I go quite overboard. And the fact that it's quite a modern house, I felt it would have made more sense, it being a little bit more trimmed and not perfect, but a little bit more reserved on the fact that the plants have been planted there before they've moved in. Instead of having like bushes all over the place, it's like been planted for them. And there we go, there was that item. I realised I added in romantic stuff pack and I didn't realise where, and now I realise it's with that fountain. There we go. I wanted to add a fountain in because I thought it worked, and that's my favourite fountain because all the others look really posh. And there we go. It's that one fountain. If I hadn't added in the fountain, we would have been at the one stuff pack limit. But what can we do? I also felt adding in the more eco-friendly laundry day stuff would be more appropriate than putting in the washers and the dryers. It just felt like it made more sense with the style of the house. I thought it was nice adding in a fountain at the front. And sometimes I always want to add a fountain like onto the edge of the lot, but sometimes I forget that you can't build up to the edge of the lot, which is sometimes annoying. But I think it looked nice with just that little bit. And also added in a desk because I felt like they needed a little bit more. I went with the basic computer because it really didn't think to me that, oh, there's somebody who's all like tech savvy and stuff. Sure, I put in a nice TV, but who doesn't like a nice TV? Oh yeah, I think the bathroom was the last thing I worked on. I think I put in the Jungle Adventure tiles, if I'm correct, because I think they are stunning tiles. And then I use the shower to match it. But there's one thing that you'll see what I like doing in bathrooms at the moment is I will take the sink, especially the Jungle Adventure sink, and then I get some cabinets and I kind of frame the sink with the cabinets. I just think it brings in the fact that you don't need cabinets just for the sink, on the fact that you've got the sink on the top, but adds a little bit of like dimension to the sink. Then it's not just like a boring sink on its own. Well, they're not boring sinks, but it's just not a sink on its own, but it has a little bit of like extra space around it for you to put extra items like the soap and the clutter items, which I just love using. So yeah, I'm just kind of like buffing out the bathroom at the moment to make it look a little less barren, and I did add in the toilet, haven't forgotten that. So kind of just adding in some clutter and some paintings at the moment. And those paintings always work well in the toilets. But yeah, I think the house mostly now is coming together really. I think I have maybe a little bit more landscaping to do, but I think we're mostly done. I can't see if I'm coming up to the screenshot shots as of yet, but just kind of finishing off the bathroom now. Kind of felt like I'm kind of running out of things to talk about now, so I do apologise. I think I've got a few extra bits of clutter to add to the bathroom. Oh yeah, I love that mirror from Seasons. It's just so stunning. I wish I had that mirror, but can't have everything. So think, yeah, I'm adding just the final bits of clutter to the bathroom, kind of spacing them out and making them a little bit more, instead of like they're just randomly placed on the counters. I love doing that with the shower. Yeah, I think I'm mostly finishing now, maybe just adding a few extra plants, adding an extra paintings and kind of, I think I'm mostly done now. Maybe I add in a few, yeah, okay. So I don't know what I'm talking about here, really. I think I'm just kind of adding in like the final bits, kind of making it look a little bit more lived in. Oh yeah, that was it. The tree was clipping the house. But I think this is mostly it done. I can't remember what else I add in now. Oh, clutter. Like I said, I do love a bit of clutter. It just makes it feel, clutter, and then I add in some extra bits to make it a little bit more painty, like look, someone who actually looks like they paint lives here. So I think it's like the unlockable items, and yeah, those, and I think it just added a nice little bit of, made the bedroom feel like their living space as well. Like I could have put the desk upstairs, but I felt like the person living here wouldn't have really been worried about the desk. That was why it was just like snuck in the kitchen, because I put it there because it's needed for like if they needed to get a job or anything like that. So I just felt like having the painting stuff in the bedroom upstairs was like, that was their living space, because their living is as a painter. I haven't really designed a sim to who lives here at the moment. I might do that. I kind of had some vibes on maybe using like the movie hangout stuff, giving that kind of like bohemian style, maybe a little bit hippie-ish, maybe using some get-together clothes as well. And I think, yeah, now we're getting to the screenshot. So this is the front of the house, as you can see, like with the hanging plants at the front. Then moving on to the back, kind of adding in some planter pots and stuff, so if they wanted to do some growing. Then you can see here like the entranceway into the house, kind of no stairs on that, no banisters on that stairs. Then I really like the way this kitchen looked with the little cubby hole. And then, yeah, as you can see upstairs with the mezzanine level and the dining table there. And I really like this angle because it really just gives you a feel of how the mezzanine level would work in this house. And then here's the bathroom with the matching tiles to the shower. Didn't bother with curtains because it wasn't needed. And then I love this, as you can see, like the hanging plants in the background there with the hanging lights. I think that bed works really well. Not a little bit like a bit of a shabbier bed, but there you can really see the mezzanine level of the bed of the upper floor. And then yeah, this is the back of the house. And then I think I'm going to cut off here because this is the last screenshot. And thank you everybody for watching, and please do subscribe and like. I know this is a quick ending, but I really hope everybody liked this video. I hope to create more. And thank you for watching. And if you could do subscribe, do all those wonderful YouTube things of which Little Simsy says all the time. And I hope to speak to you soon. Bye.